Hey YouTube, I had gotten a couple questions about my kiln that I want to answer, and I'm going to make a video on that today. I also collected a couple of red oak logs here. I have a white oak tree that I want to cut down, and then a couple other trees, but for right now that's what I did this morning. And I chipped up the branches right away from them so I don't have to worry about that. But anyway, getting to the kiln, the temperature in the kiln right now is, let's see, 1, 10, 20, 30, about 140 degrees, okay? And the moisture in there is only at 10%. So this is really fantastic for drying. So what I'm going to do is I just want to move the board that I used to hold the thing up, and I'll get back to you in a second. I just want to shut the camera off just long enough for me to hold the thing open here. And then I'm going to take some measurements of the wood on how dry it is. Okay, so you can see that temperature there a lot better. 130 is the last markers, and it's beyond that by at least the distance of 10 degrees. So I'm going to say it's 140 in there. And when I opened it up, you could feel the heat coming out of this thing. So it is pretty warm. And that 10% relative humidity tells you just how much, moisture is inside this container. So let me get my moisture meter here ready, and then I'll show you what the moisture content is of this wood. You can see there it's right at, well, it was at 7.0. I don't know if you caught that before yeah. So it's 7.0, which is actually good for making stuff. So the stuff down here a little lower, I'm not getting a reading there for some reason. I might need, oh, there we go. I think I'm needing some batteries, but this was down around 5, so that's plenty low enough to be able to take out of the kiln here and do whatever I want to do to it. The stuff stays pretty flat. You notice on that top there's no real weight on it, and the boards aren't bad. They just need to be plain now, so that's what I'll be able to do. The thing that I wanted to go over a little bit here was, how I have this made, because I get a lot of questions about this. All I did was frame this out of 2x4s that I cut from pine boards. Okay, so the 2x4s are all what was cut on the sawmill. The shape of it here, I'll show you. It's 8 feet wide, width-wise. This side over here, I believe, is 11 feet high, the back. The front's only about 20 inches or so high, and that gives me what I need to aim directly at the sun when the sun is in a good position to, when the sun's high enough to give me a lot of sunlight. Now normally we're facing east, so as the sun comes up, like where my finger is, as it goes higher and higher, like right now the sun's directly above me almost, that's because it's, we're getting into the summertime. Usually in winter it comes out and really stays low over that way, so you don't get a lot of heat build up in the summertime or in the winter time. However, even though it is winter, you still do get a lot of sunlight in the winter, and that makes the heat that's inside the building. So all this thing is it's a 6-inch concrete slab with 2 inches of foam underneath that. It's right under the concrete. That helps to keep heat in there. And then the walls are made out of 2x4s, and they're all insulated all the way around. And I have 2 doors on the top there. Let's see where we at. There's one here and there's one on the other side. That's just in case there's too much moisture in there to get rid of. Otherwise, this thing's just cycling the moisture around. Now you can see the temperature there went down probably 5 degrees, but it's still really warm in there. I mean, there's a lot of heat in this thing because that wood is holding heat. So what I have there, if you look at the top, you can sort of see it. This wall is about 16 inches, this wall here, in front of the other wall, okay, the back wall. So there's about 16 inches in front of that. So that's where I have the fans hung on the inside. And it's basically pulling air from the bottom here. Now it pulls some from the top, but it's not that much because you can see where the door comes across there, it kind of blocks that off. But it pulls the heat from the back up, through the wood, up, back around, and that's how it keeps cycling the wood. And I really like the way these things dry. A lot of people ask me about making some kind of way to put more heat in it in the winter time, and the thing behind that is, like, you can see the wood on the bottom here is a little bit of a different color. So it's an older wood than the boards that are on the top. The boards that are on the top were probably cut in the last, I don't know, 3 months ago probably. Now it's been sitting in here, so you figure 3 months ago where we live, it's still winter time, January, February, March, until you get into April, okay? And we're through April now into May, so summer's basically here almost. So the thing is it'll dry the wood in a month's time if you got summertime temperatures like these, you know, where the temperature's over 130, and that 130 kills any bugs that are in the wood as well. So I don't worry about the bugs or anything like that with the way this is. Now if you look, you can see I have a hose over there. That hose goes onto a dehumidifier. Now, not a humidifier, but a dehumidifier. So if I want to, I can put a dehumidifier in there, and I can actually get rid of a lot of moisture a lot quicker. But I normally don't have to because it dries pretty quick. And I mean, all the things I have, my storage building over there is filled with lumber, that building in the back there. So it's not like a big deal on how quickly I have to dry this stuff, because I can sell directly out of that building back there. And I do, as people, I haven't advertised yet to get rid of lumber, but I really don't want to either. So I'm just saying, you know, this is normally what's happening. So this thing is 7 foot by 18 foot. 18 foot long, or 8 foot by 18 foot, I think it is. And the 18 foot gives me enough room for the walls on each side, and then this gap in between for 8 footers. Now if I wanted to cut longer lengths, I could cut them. The problem with it is I should cut 16 footers so it fills up the whole thing to get the moisture or the air to move around the wood and through it rather than around the edges of it, which doesn't help to do any drying. But this works pretty good and I'm satisfied with it. I got this off of a website from the actual thought process behind how you would make this. I got that from I think it's Virginia Tech, I believe it's called, website. So anyway, I'm just saying it works really well. And with the temperature as high as it is there, you can see the temperature on this thermometer. It's only like 80 88 degrees there, and that's because of the thermometer sitting in the sun. It's about 75 degrees outside actually, but the sun really raises the temperature up. So that thing's dropped about 8 degrees there so far. So I'm gonna just go ahead and shut this door and let it keep drying the wood. I mean, that top, some of it, you saw it was 7%. Sometimes it's a little bit higher in the middle of the wood, so I'll leave that in there for a couple of weeks and then I'll take it out, and then I have some wood started here to start filling the pile back up. Also guys, somebody had asked me about this. I'll just set it here for a second in the sun so you can see it. Now, this Sawyer guy sent this to me. So, I mean, if you want to call him and ask him if he has any that he can send out, you can maybe buy one off him or whatever. But I like this thing. It has the log diameter here, and it's a real easy thing to just grab that. Now, there's other ways to figure this stuff out. Like if you take 7 times the diameter, that actually gives you this number. So 7 times 10 is 7.0 actually. 7 times this is 7.7. So you know, you can take 7 times any diameter and really calculate quickly what the cant would be. So that's one way of doing it. That's not hard, but a lot of times I don't want to think about that, and sometimes I'll forget that it's a 7 that I'm supposed to be using. So anyway, with this red oak log that or tree that I cut down, this is the top of the tree here. Looks like it's about, oh, I'd have to say 8 inches in diameter at this end. Little wavy here and there, but I'll get a couple of nice 1x4 out of that, or 1x6 maybe. Maybe even a couple 1x8, but I doubt it. We'll see what happens. The other 3 logs that are towards the back of the ones that were just recently cut. The ones in the back there are made out of maple, and that maple's been bad for me. I haven't been able to get any good boards out of that maple, so I'm going to get rid of those logs for firewood. But the other 3 plus that front one should make me some nice red oak boards.